And we're live. It's the check-in show. It's episode 49. Capri, Ash, Gamache, and special guest AJ Young.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going? So
hey.
this,
Hi.
for anyone who is watching this, this is basically four people just checking in on each other through these trying times and making sure that everybody is keeping, well, yeah, mental health check-in. I guess that's
Yeah.
that's the word. Yeah, I'm suffering from poor lighting today. I don't know exactly what it is because I didn't really change anything, so it's messing with my green screen. But we've wow, we actually have somebody is tuned in and started watching. Welcome,
Terrific.
and let's grill our special guest today. Just AJ, how have you been doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. I would say the pandemic hasn't been that detrimental to me just because I'm a hermit by nature. So now I have an excuse not to go out and do anything. It's a little detrimental. I let my Medicare card expire, so I'm gonna have to pick that up this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have. Yes, actually, speaking of that, because tomorrow I have to go do my blood test, and on the Medicare, for expiration, it's 2022-03. So I'm like, I have until March. Thank God, thank God. So
Yeah,
wait,
but you know what? Usually they'll tell you the expiration date is March, but they'll tell you to renew it at least a month, maybe two in advance. So
okay,
I wouldn't wait. I would not
okay,
wait.
but I'm good for tomorrow. That's all I
You're good
need.
for tomorrow, but
Thank God. Whew, yeah,
get
no,
it get
after
it
that, wait.
renewed.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Get
doing.
it renewed because you're gonna have new pictures taken and all
yeah.
that
Yeah.
crap.
Well,
This
I
is
mean,
the
It's like
first time I've ever seen Claudio relieved that he's getting a needle.
well, no, because I don't know if it happened to you, but like the last time I had to renew my Medicare card, I just had to go and sign something, and then there we go. I didn't have to take any new
That's
pictures. Of,
yeah, that's probably the pictures last for like I think the photographs they say are good for 6 to 8 years, something like that.
okay,
I think it's
perfect. All right.
6 years, not sure. Don't quote me on this. But every 2 years you have to like driver's licenses you have to renew and all that stuff. Like driver's license you have to renew anyways every year.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think the Medicare card every 2 years they ask you to sign up again. So
Okay, well,
it's like
I'm going to pharmacy later, so I'll go take
I
yeah.
pictures.
I got the papers for my Medicare, and it was like, oh, you can just like go to the pharmacy and like get half the stuff done there, and then mail it. I'm like, okay, no problem. Uh, I got it. I had a week to renew, and
Yeah.
then Quebec went on lockdown again for that week.
Yeah,
So
How convenient.
yeah,
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah,
and then
that's
as soon as it expired, and then Quebec's like, oh, we're off lockdown, and I'm like, cool.
yeah. Well, I
I
can't,
th-
I
I
can't.
think they've got it in for you, AJ.
I think there's a message in there.
I,
Man.
I
It's not paranoia if they're really out to get you.
No, right?
no, it's still paranoia. It's justified.
It's justified.
That's I actually got the boost 2 days ago.
Yay!
How do you feel?
I feel good. My
Yeah.
arms are sore, but they were
Yeah.
sore
Yeah.
beforehand because I shoveled a bunch of snow
Oh well, there you go.
the day before I went to get
Yeah.
it. Yeah. The thing is too, it was so easy.
Yeah.
I just went to Palais de Congrès,
Okay, you went there.
and I showed up stupidly early because I wanted to be in and out as quick as I
Yeah, right.
possibly could. So they started at 8. I showed up at 6:30.
Oh my God, yeah, that is early.
And yeah, considering I'm not a morning person, oh damn, that was hard. But no one else got into the line until about 7:30. Uh, and so I was the line for the first hour I was there.
And somebody cut in front of you.
Nope, nope.
That would have been. That would have
There's
been a
some
big.
people who had appointments, but I
Okay.
was actually the first person in
Yeah.
the jab chamber, which they
The
set up
jab. The
one of
jab
the
chamber.
big chambers up in the Palais de Congrès. So it was super easy to go in,
Hmm.
and I went through. I actually opened up the door to the big chamber, and all the health professionals were getting a pep talk over in the corner, and so I had to wait, and then they had me go through. I think one
Well,
person got their needle ahead of me, but that
mm,
was just because they were probably better at answering questions to the health professional at the first station.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got sent on, and boom, person was smooth. They weren't rushed at all. They yeah, no pain in the needle going in whatsoever.
Great.
So
Yeah, I had a very good experience with my booster shot too. I was scheduled to be there for, I think it was 10:20. I showed up at like 10:10. There was nobody there. I waited around. At one point, I sort of like went to the nurse. I said, "Hello, I'm here for 10:20." She says, "Oh, you're here? Come on in right now." Like just like she waves me in. It's like there's nobody ahead of you. Okay, so I got the shot. Everything was good, painless, nothing. Bam. Sit outside, wait 15 minutes. Nobody else showed up. In the whole time I was there, no one else was showing up for the boosters at the pharmacy. So I said, "Okay, fine, great. I haven't been exposed to anybody." Off I went back home. End of story.
Good.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I was I with the 15-minute wait afterwards. It was 8:32 that I stood up and walked out.
Oh wow.
So-
Okay. I took a nap when I was waiting. Like after the needle, I was supposed to wait 15 minutes. I just took a nap, and then my the nurse like, "Sorry," I'm like, "Oh, it was 30 minutes." I'm like, "All right, I'm going home." And then as soon as I walked out, that was when my left arm was.
You
was
probably freaked her out. She probably thought you were having
Oh, yeah, she
a
did,
reaction.
yeah.
You were in a coma or something.
Yeah, and it looked like I did it on purpose too, because I'm like, oh, let me just go sit far away from people. So I went to go sit far away, and I was just cuddled up like this, and then I'm like, and I'm like, oh, that was a really comfortable nap. Like I could have stayed there practically the whole day and just sleeping.
Don't play practical jokes on the healthcare workers. They've had enough trouble.
Oh yeah, actually, you know what? I'm really grateful because because I was supposed to go on Monday. I was supposed to go and get my blood test, but then they had to cancel due to
right.
what's going on. But then this morning I received an email and like, listen, January 20th at 10:30 a.m. Would you like to come and get your blood test? I'm like, all right, sure, no problem. So you know what? The fact that because I could have gone in on Monday and wait a very long time. And we'll start at 6 a.m. But I'm like, and it was snowing. I'm like, I can't, I don't want to risk it. But then like, oh no, they gave me an official appointment, so I'm grateful for that. But but the healthcare workers, give it to them. They're amazing people.
I really think that the general population is not as appreciative as they should be.
Absolutely, you're right.
Of the healthcare workers and all the efforts and all of the things that they've had to deal with, the bullshit that they've been subjected to. I really like. It's no wonder that there's people leaving the healthcare sector in droves because it's just too much. It's been going on for 2 years now, and it's like, come on, give them a break already.
Yeah,
everybody's having a hard time with this, but don't make it harder on them. They're the guys you really want to have on your side.
Yeah.
I saw a little video sort of explaining the traveling nurse phenomena in the States.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, I'm a nurse at this hospital. I'm only making $30 an hour, and you're sort of forcing me into overtime. I'd like a raise to $40 an hour. And the hospital administration going, no, we can't do that. Okay, then I'm giving my notice, and I'm going to work as a traveling nurse. And then the hospital administrator go, well, good luck finding steady employment. Hi, I'm a traveling nurse. Great, we can hire you. What's your rate? $40 an hour? No, it's $50 an hour. I guess that's what we'll have to do. And,
the logic is so broken in that whole system that it's like, you actually cannot compensate these people enough for the work that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you refuse to increase their pay, you're just an asshole.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
Just end of story. Especially in a for-profit system like the Americans. It's like,
oh yeah, oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
They're making money hand over foot, and they should have plenty to give out to their nurses.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but again, that's like any other company, right? Like if
Yeah.
you're there for a long time, you expect to get a raise, but but they're like, no, you know what? We're gonna install security cameras in the locker rooms. That's where the money's going because
Yeah.
that's what we feel is more important. Like,
Oh, and you want to raise? Well, we'll double your workload,
Yeah,
and we'll give
exactly.
you a little bit of a raise.
yeah. You want to? Wait. You want that raise? You're gonna have to work weekends.
Yeah.
For a 50-cent
For
raise.
work weekends forever.
Yeah, work weekends. But yeah, we'll give you a raise, 5 cents, man. Wow, 5 cents is definitely gonna help in a time like this.
Yeah, I'm. I don't want to dig too much into it in other people's streams, but I am slowly radicalizing to just straight left wing.
You know what? A lot of what people are calling left wing these days
It's
used
just-
to be called moderate.
Yes, exactly.
No. I mean communist.
Okay.
Seize the means of production.
Right.
Every worker should have a stake in the company,
Yeah, but that's-
valued at a market share. Everyone should be paid equally.
Yeah,
There should be no CEOs.
yeah, that.
Yeah, but with AJ,
Far
you're,
left.
Far
you're
left.
conflating communism and socialism, I think, because
No,
socialism.
that what he's saying is communism.
Yeah, but
soci-
communism has gotten a bad rap because if you've studied Marx or if you're familiar with the communism was bastardized by Stalin because he essentially turned communism into a dictatorship. A dictatorship type thing, which is actually fascist, not communist.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so he perverted it that way. True communism? Perverted. Yeah, true communism, according to Karl Marx, was supposed to be a jumping point to true democracy, the will of the people. And Stalin said, "No, the will of me." So.
Yeah, the biggest
look. I have the same problem with communism that I have with organized religion. It's a great idea until human beings get involved. 'Cause
Exactly.
Human beings are so flawed.
Yeah, a lot of the time the problem is like communism is trying to exist in a world that is suffocatingly capitalist. So they immediately go at ends, and capitalism's going to win because it's the stake of the entire planet. We all use capitalism. So
Right.
communism, the only way that communism and socialism, if we were to like make sure that we had social safety nets and make sure that everyone, the elderly, the disabled, are all taken care of, then we would definitely have to have a system that immediately dropped capitalism for socialism, communism, and a secure system for everyone. It's insane. That's why you have to be radical to talk about it. But yeah, like it's gotten to a point where basically it's like go radical or just watch the world be choked by capitalism.
Watch the world be destroyed in flames.
Yeah.
Well,
It is being burnt.
Yeah,
Yep,
it is.
it certainly is.
Though,
Hey.
all right, talking about capitalist fascism.
But I just want to say that this actually all just ties into checking in on me because ever since being more,
Yes.
I've always been political, but now that I'm actually
Yes.
going deep into it and I'm actually
Yeah.
trying to understand my own beliefs,
Yeah.
a lot of my depression is washed away because I actually understand the issues that were going on in my head. I have an awareness of why I was so conflicted about why I was like, why do I have to work till I die? I don't understand. Like it's come to do a lot for my mental health that I understand that the
You get to
system has
stop
pummeled
working
me
when you
down.
die.
I hope. I don't know how heaven works.
I seriously
I-
have to work about 10 years after my death to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. As the only retired person here, I can say yes. Okay, maybe that's the case for younger people. I'm sure because I lucked out and I rode the crest of the retirement people.
Yeah,
So,
we don't have retirements anymore.
No, exactly.
No,
exactly.
retirement. Like I know someone who works at a pharmacy, and he's 68 years old, and he retired 3 years ago. And he goes, retired, and like even his money because they were using it for during the previous lockdowns. And he goes, it's things are insanely cheap. Expensive today.
Yeah.
So that's why he has to find another job, and he's an Uber driver at night too, because it's hard to maintain. Yeah,
Driving an Uber at night at 68. Now, whoa.
Oh no, he's no.
Yeah.
Oh no, this man is in better shape than I am. But I'm like Jesus Christ, man. Like he goes, you know, his kid, because he has two older kids, and you know,
Right.
his kids are not, not doing well health wise, right? But no, he's telling me, he goes, you know, it's crazy today, and then I'm like, man, I'm 31, and I'm like, yo. Can my diabetes leave now? And then I'm like, meanwhile, I'm just there. I'm like, man, what am I eating tonight? Well, everyone else is just like, oh my God, you know, we might lose our jobs. And then, you know, it's just crazy where like where we're ending up in. Where we end up at.
My grandfather like still works.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a retirement. He's going
Yeah.
like I've come to terms with the fact that I'm going to watch my grandfather work until he passes away.
Well,
How old's your granddad?
yeah.
Oh,
AJ?
he's I think he's well into his 70s, probably leaving them soon.
Well, also, you know what, you know what, God bless him too. But you know, like when I'm old, I'm still gonna work. Like I'm not, I can't see myself.
It's the
retiring.
fact that he doesn't have a choice. That's the problem. He's
Yeah.
supposed
Yeah,
to have like a
that-
comfortable retirement. You're
Yeah.
supposed to
Yeah.
be able to work your way to that, and he's just
Right.
No, this day and age, no. This day, like I don't want to sound, you know, like remember, like everyone, like my parents back in the day, they were able to buy a house, and they came from Italy with nothing, and then they had like a, you know, again, it was different times. Don't get me wrong, it was different times, and then even like, and then, you know, they had everything saved up for the, for
Yeah.
their kids.
Yeah.
And now
well,
today, I'm like, you know, just with one person myself, I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, now I'm depending on, you know, employment insurance, and I'm like, oh my God, like, am I gonna make it to next month's a credit card payment? Meanwhile, you know, the oldies, they're like, you know, well, you know, we still have money. I'm like, how do you, how? It's just crazy.
Investment wealth. They
Yeah.
bought a house, so they have
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
My parents bought their first house, I think, for 60,000. Actually, they built it themselves. They bought the
Whoa.
land
Yeah.
and they built it themselves.
Yeah.
And that was actually the house I grew up in. They moved away and rented it for a little while, and then moved back and extended it. You know, that's one thing. Now, I'm very lucky in the fact that I am doing what I love. But because I'm doing what I love and I'm not the best at it, I'm just barely getting by.
Right.
So I'm really happy that the auditions have really picked up right now. So the film is coming back in like this month, the end of this month, and in February there's going to be a lot more filming in Montreal. You know, as long as all the precautions are taken, that's why I've got my booster shot.
Right.
So that's a benefit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I was watching a something about Marilyn Monroe, the like a revisiting of the Marilyn Monroe.
You just were watching for the boobs, weren't you?
No, I wasn't just watching for the boobs. Come on. Anyways, and they were showing some archival footage, and they showed some motion picture of she was driving into a gas station in California in the late 50s or early 60s, and gas was 29.3 cents a gallon. That's like not even 7 cents a liter.
Yeah. My father wasn't a conspiracy theory guy, but he did sort of believe that we went to the metric system, so gas in Canada wouldn't be over $1 a gallon.
And then bam.
So then it became, you know, because it's a liter smaller, so it would be less.
Yeah, and my mother-in-law, speaking of more elderly people than me, more elderly people buying homes when they were, you know, young. My mother-in-law, my in-laws bought their house back in 1957, I believe, or 56. I can't remember now. 50 something in the late 50s. They bought a semi-detached in Ville Saint Laurent for just a little over $7,000. And that house right now, it's evaluated at over $400K.
You know what? I think I might have made a mistake. I think maybe my parents bought their house for 6,000 because that was
Yeah.
around the same time, and that
Yeah.
was in rural Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
AJ, we're not giving you a migraine, I hope.
No, just the usual capitalism migraine. Anyway,
Yeah, I know. You know, it's like, oh, if you had bought gold when it was back at $32 an ounce,
yeah.
when it was capped until like the mid 60s. That was you couldn't, $32 an ounce for gold. Like, oh, okay, yeah, right.
You have to update this.
Yeah.
You know, bought Bitcoin when it was just
Yes,
$30.
of course,
Or
yes,
bought
yes.
Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Uh,
But that fluctuates considerably more than gold does.
oh yeah, that's just a pyramid scheme.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's a Ponzi scheme waiting to
absolutely.
collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
don't know. I look,
shall we get positive, guys?
to be honest, honestly, to be honest with you, I'm just waiting till everything opens back up. So,
Yeah, I am so
I don't want to.
I'm so jonesing for just like 5 minutes of stage time. Just give me fucking 5 minutes and a microphone. I don't even care if there's people in the audience. Give me fucking 5 minutes on a stage.
I think it's like the end next week or something. I'm doing an online show, Luke Lindale's show.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that next Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, like, listen, it's virtual, but like so far I did 2 virtual shows, and I'm like, man, like at least when you're live, right? You know, you can go
There's
to the
an energy.
bathroom.
You
Yeah.
can hear the groans.
Yeah, at least when you're live, you know, and you can go to the bathroom, you can go get a drink, you could focus on yourself. But when you're watching virtual, you have no choice but to be like,
You have to wait until they call on you.
then, then it's your turn.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
I have to be on like this. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then I'm pausing. I'm like, and then
Yeah.
and in your head, you're like, man,
They're
all right,
laughing
all right.
now.
They're like, you guys are laughing, right? Give me a thumbs up if you're laughing, but it's all delayed. So then after that, I check. I'm like, oh, okay, I got thumbs up. And then there's like some other person. Like I always I'm always on these shows where there's someone who's shirtless. I don't know why. It's a male who's
Stop taking your
shirtless.
shirt off then.
I'm like, wait, do I have to be that guy? It's always it's either him or I get a guy who I think has Parkinson's or something. He's moving, and I'm like, oh my god, this is atrocious.
I think the shirtless guy just is doing it to be remembered.
They'll
remember me because I don't have my shirt on.
And you know what? And he's lying on his bed. I'm like, and then he's like, he's telling us. I don't know if he's.
So this is a
Same
quality
joke.
Zoom show.
Yes, this is the cream of the crop. That is.
And meanwhile, look, I don't want to toot my own horn, but like I'm professional as well. I mean, I just have like this, and I'm standing,
Yeah.
and I'm just waiting, and then meanwhile, I'm like, look, I don't want to, and then I'm like, and then people who are talking like this, and then I swear to God, once this happened on a show where a person's talking like this, and I'm like talking to the fucking mic, and then the person's like, Claudio, you're very. I'm like, no, you have a mic. Use your mic.
Claudio,
Yes.
how often have I gone after you and other members of the Dirty Four?
Yes, it rubs off me now. I know. and ever since you said that, now I'm like, you know what? I'm using this now. Perfect. Now I see why you're frustrated. I'm like, now I understand why in my head, I'm like, now I understand why Paul Ash is frustrated.
Am I actually using this wrong? Should this be much closer?
No, you've got a good mic.
You got a good
Okay,
mic.
good.
Yeah, you got a good mic. You got a good mic.
Yeah.
Oh man.
My mic's
Anyways.
perched on top of my phone, so it's actually
I don't know.
pretty good. It's a pretty good mic too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Tiny little
virtual
fucker.
shows- I've been invited for a few of the virtual shows, and I like doing shows like this. I really enjoy doing BattleCom, especially during the pandemic when we can't really see comedians.
Right.
I think there's a lot of formats for shows. I think Elspeth's Battle of Wits, there's a lot of really great formatting for shows that can be done. But when I get an invite, they're like, hey, do you want to stand in front of your computer and do your comedy act, I'm like, a lot of comedy for me is the feedback, the audience, the energy, and just doing it in my bedroom or like to my computer with no response. It's so painful.
There are graded levels of online mics. The unknown comedy club, Rodney Ramsey's one. He's got two moderators who are in there muting and unmuting people, so you hear the laughter.
Oh,
so it's there. I did the Calgary Funny Fest last summer, and it was a hybrid mic, and so one of the windows was of a live audience.
Okay.
And it wasn't super well moderated. People muting people because, like, I did hear, "Can you get me a beer while you're in there?" While I was on. But I had a bunch of fun, and then they've invited me to fly me to Calgary for next year's.
Nice, awesome, congratulations.
Terrific.
But you see, the positive aspect of doing these online shows is, and I keep telling everyone, like, it makes you stronger for when you come back to live shows.
Well, it definitely hones you. You have to sort of like bring your A game and
exactly.
And,
So, and then I tell people again, like, what do I know about life, right? So, so like, even for me, like, I use these online shows like just to test out stuff that I think, like, in my head it sounds really funny. I'm like, all right, you know what, that could be funny. So when you go to an open mic, you know, it's your stuff is already planned out, it's already worked out, and there you go. So
and
you know.
I'll admit that I'm sure you feel much more primed to go back to stage, whereas I'm definitely feeling rusty. I'm excited to go back out there, but like, I'm like, well, my first show.
You gotta start somewhere, right? And then I was talking about with someone last night. You know, he's like, "Oh man, actually, we'll talk about it with Will Flynn a while ago because I haven't done anything. I'm like, he wasn't gonna be rusty." And I told him, "Listen, you know, again, what do I know about life?
More than you think you do, Claudio. Really, honestly,
it takes a lot of self-awareness to at least admit that you don't know a lot. That's better than most people.
So then, but I told him, I'm like, it's just like, it's just like riding a bike when you get back to it. Listen, you might be, might be rusty. You might be rusty, but hey, at least you're, when you come back, you'll be like, oh my god, like a first timer. But then when you do it often, and then because I was watching a lot of Curve Your Enthusiasm. And I was watching interviews with Larry David, and Larry David was saying, just keep writing. How he keeps his episodes fresh is like he just keeps writing every day, even if it's like dumb ideas,
Right.
And then you see them virtual. Then like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna check mark. All right, so I can work. That's what it is. Because honestly, I find during the lockdown, a lot of people have just used this time. Most people have just used this time just to, I would say, veg out,
Yeah, but I mean, there's a limit to what you can and cannot do,
exactly.
and it's within the confines of that, you do what you can. I'm not going to throw rocks at somebody saying, hey, you didn't do anything during the lockdown. I mean, I'm not in a position to do that. I haven't been anywhere. I think I went to see your show, Claudio, at the Nest. That was the one time in the whole fucking lockdown that I ventured out to a comedy club.
Yeah.
And I had a spot for the following week that I didn't even go to because I was too concerned for my mother-in-law to take any risk. So, but I think that the rust will be there. Obviously,
Yeah.
You haven't done it. I haven't done it since January of 2020. That was my last time I was on a stage anywhere, and so 2 years is going to show. It's going to come on. Timing's going to be off. Even all your material by rote, even the stuff that like inside and out.
Even that stuff's getting rusty.
The delivery is going to be sticky. That's what I like to call it. It's going to be sticky. It's not.
Stand-up comedy is a confidence game.
Yes.
And I don't mean that as in con men, but
it's a little bit of a con. You're not really conning them for their money, but you're conning them for their appreciation, for their
laughs.
The left turn, the surprise twists.
Yeah.
But that Shyamalan plot twists.
Yeah. but you know it's confidence, but it's also doing it.
Yeah.
How do you get better? You do it. So
Exactly.
it's one thing. It's like the tennis player who hits 100 balls, he's going to be good. The tennis player who hits 10,000 balls, he's going to be better.
Unless you're like someone who lives further away from Dorval and he puts on a show and then there are kids there and you're like,
Oh,
why?
please, let's not even go there.
Oh my god, I honestly, look, you might hate me for this, but just before 2 weeks before lockdown, I went with another comic and he's like, listen, I'm gonna drive up there. I'm like, all right, perfect. So I messaged him back. I'm like, listen, I got a lift and he's gonna be there too. We're gonna go. So we go there. And no, it's not Ben Cardilli, so we're passing the bridge again. And my friend and then my friend has his look. He's like, man, we could, we don't have to go there. I'm like, yeah, we're on the bridge. So then he slowly goes to the edge as a joke, like he just slowly turns. He's like, we could jump off this bridge. So whatever. So then we get there, and we're a bit early. We're just we're just getting some food, and I get him because he drove me there, and we're just working on jokes. And I'm like, where is this show gonna happen? So then we get there. So he gets there. Sorry, this is hilarious. He gets there, and all of a sudden, as soon as he walks in, there's 3 kids, and I'm like, whatever. All right, so the show starts. It's gonna start. He goes, yeah, people are getting here. We're like, all right. So it was like 8:00, 8:45, 9:15.
You don't even have to say who this is. I could just...
And my friend is like, where are the people? Where the and then it was supposed to be a whole lineup of 7 comics.
Yeah.
3 out of the whole people showed up.
Don't worry, it'll still run 2 hours.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
No.
Oh my god!
No,
Oh my god!
I mean,
No.
yeah, it will definitely.
Yeah,
go
exactly.
over
We
2
were
hours.
we weren't setting up this roast, but yeah, we're in it now.
3.5 hours.
Oh my god!
I went on
Oh,
an
my
hour
Lord.
later, and my friend turns to me. He's like, hey, didn't you learn anything from this? And I turned to my friend, like, hey, you're the one who's here. And he goes, yeah, it's true. So
Oh
I'm
my
like,
Lord!
so I go on, and I'm supposed to do 5 minutes. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I ended up doing 11 minutes, and then I get off, and Richard's like, well, sorry. This guy's like, well, note to comics, when you're given the time to do your time, you should respect your time. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone who says a show is going to start at 8, starts at 9:30, they should really respect our time. My friend went, and then after it finished,
Oh my Lord!
and then my friend's like, man, and then it was
You're a glutton for punishment, aren't you?
it was his birthday. And
Oh my
that was
God.
the weirdest. Look, sorry. I know I shouldn't be talking negative about this, Paul. I'm sorry, but
No, this is hilarious. This is really hilarious.
there was a birthday cake, and there was a picture on the birthday cake.
Oh my god!
And you know what that picture is? Of a lady. Anyways,
Oh my god.
she's not wearing. Anyways, and then there's kids there, and he goes,
Lovely.
yeah. And I'm in the back of my friend. I'm like, man, how are we single? How? And then he just digs into the cake, and I'm like,
Oh my
God.
Lord!
We go back home, and I'm like, I
Oh
can't
my
do this
God.
anymore. Oh my god, that was hilarious. That is sad. Sorry, I just have to.
But your stories have so many more twists in them. I
Yeah, I know. My stories have more twists than an M. Night Shyamalan film.
I really thought that at some point you were gonna say that like you were at a children's birthday party doing comedy. I was just like,
No.
okay.
No, I wish. You know what?
And then the stripper came out.
Then the stripper came out. Yeah,
The cake.
exactly. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Oh my Lord!
That is
He hasn't changed a bit, has he?
AJ, have you consumed any good media
Yes.
over the lockdown?
Yes.
I mean, yes. No, I haven't kept up with like if we're talking about like just fun media. I didn't keep up with Hawkeye on like Disney Plus. I kind of been like falling away from the Marvel Avengers stuff. It's good. It's still very likable. I'm very happy that like the Marvel and Avengers community is thriving and everybody's enjoying those films. But after Endgame, I was basically like, I'm tapped out, man. You guys beat me up for like 10 years with these Marvel movies. I'll see everyone now and then. There's like a few heroes I'm excited to see. If they ever make a Nova movie, like, yeah, I guess I'll see that. But for the most part, like, I missed Hawkeye, and most people have been like, oh, that's a great show. And I'm like, okay. Moon Knight's coming out in March.
Yeah,
Might be down for that. I'm a big Oscar Isaac fan, so Moon Knight looks interesting.
I'm definitely excited for Moon Knight. I rewatched.
I didn't realize that he was Apocalypse.
Yeah, there was one scene in Apocalypse where I was like, oh, I see it, but then the rest of the movie I was like,
he
blends in completely.
He didn't want to be credited as in the film because they had even Apocalypse. By the way, I have that movie. I was cleaning my DVD collection. I forgot I had Apocalypse. I'm like, oh, X-Men Apocalypse. I'm like, I forgot I had that movie. But no, I was looking online, like, you know, like the making of films, and then no, Oscar Isaac was not having a very, you know, people thought that the Phoenix film had issues. The Apocalypse had issues as well, and then no, he just said he didn't have a great time doing it. It was not the Apocalypse that he envisions. Which I'm like, all right, I understand. But going back to Moon Knight, that one's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's coming out my birth month, like
Yeah,
March,
it's coming out.
so
It's coming out
like,
the day after my birthday. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, yeah.
I was like, all right, since it's my birth month, maybe I'll like celebrate a little bit, watch a couple episodes of Moon Knight, see how it goes. Especially because Moon Knight is very, and especially good for this show. Moon Knight is supposed to be extremely deep in mental health. It's supposed to be rooted very deeply in like schizophrenia, mental health issues, like bipolar disorders, all kinds of stuff like that. The comics have always touched down on some kind of mental disorders and talked about them. So I'm hoping this is another show that's going to be very focused on mental health. I'm a big fan of any time, even if it's a big corporate property like Disney's Marvel's Avengers, I'm okay when a big public figure goes, hey, mental health is something we got to take seriously.
Yeah.
It's really important to me that big entities, even I always roast Bell for their like, let's talk day where they do the absolute bare minimum humanly possible.
Yes,
but I do I still appreciate that Bell made a day to talk about mental health. Sure, let's absolutely bring attention to it.
Yeah, it's better than corporations that do shit all.
Yeah, exactly. It's the lowest effort possible, but some companies are doing nothing. So
it's at least an effort.
Yeah.
I just hope like it's great that you touched upon like about what Moon Knight's going to be doing, but I'm still it's Marvel, so I have a feeling they're gonna water down on that tone and make it, you know, because you know, like I saw, because there are only a few Marvel films that I like. And then when I'm like, oh, Moon Knight's coming, I'm like, oh no, I hope they're not gonna water down on the serious tone. Because from the trailer, it looked like they were going a little bit that route. I'm like, I hope there's not gonna be an action comedy. I can't do this.
There are some moments in the trailer, but like they're a little too cliche. Like he walks away from his reflection's still staring at him, and you're like, okay, that's like the most basic form of like media saying like, oh, you're like you're not reflecting yourself. There's something going on. It's like the most bare form of being like, that's a mental health disorder. But I mean, like, hey, they highlighted it in the trailer. They're trying to say that mental health is part of this. So I guess, it's I'm on that line where I'm like, please talk about mental health. But also, you're right that they tend to water down these really deep characters.
Yeah, they kind of use cheap tropes like that. I'm very, you know, it's like I'm ambivalent about that because yes, it's addressing it, but it's just sort of like grazing the surface.
Yeah, very surface.
When you're talking about writing or writing for a series, especially something that's going to be consecutive, you have to thumbnail. In comedy, we do it all the time.
Yeah,
we thumbnail an idea or a description so the audience can understand what we're talking about, and we move on as quickly as possible. I will not begrudge them thumbnailing some aspects of mental health, because not everyone who's going to be watching is going to be as mental health literate as, say, AJ is.
Right.
True.
Uh,
True.
and
Or
so,
receptive even,
there's
yeah.
got to be some catch up for the majority of the audience, or they're going to lose some of the audience.
That's
Yeah.
true.
True.
Yeah.
Like, I think, actually, going back to many scenes in Newark, I think that's what they've tried to do, but it has lost people. Like the true hardcore Soprano fans, like, oh, like I looked at it this way. I'm like, oh, look at this. Season 1, when you have Tony Soprano's mother talking with his uncle. That's great, and obviously Tony and the psychiatrist, and then many scenes of Newark, they tried to recreate that, but it was awful. When you had the main character talking with a twin brother no one knew, whatever, and I'm like, okay, I see the similarities.
Spoilers.
All right. Yeah, spoilers. All right. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see. Like, even like, but what I liked about it is, even like back then, like, the main character was suffering from, a mental illness, and he was a drug addict and an alcoholic, which they should have focused more on those. Well, anyways, but the fact that, even back then, but then people were like, oh, the comments were, this film was good, but if the main character didn't have a quote unquote psychiatrist, or psychologist, this film would have been real. But I'm like, no, mental health existed. It always existed with us. It's just that people were slowly opening up to this as time was going by.
Well, I was just going to say, to go back to Paul's point that not a lot of people are literate to this. That is kind of what you're talking about, Claudio. Like, a lot of people watch Sopranos and were like, oh, look at this badass mobster. But the show is like, this is a really intense show about how the mental health of these people is deteriorating rapidly.
Especially season 3. 8, because everyone thought, oh, it's a spoof of Goodfellas, obviously, in all the mob films, which kind of is. But then season 3, it got too dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and then that's when people lost interest, and then that's when David Chase like, no, season 4 we're gonna have to
Go
bring
back
it back
to the grit.
because those dream sequences, they were something. I find it interesting, but not a lot of people. Depends who your target audience are. They wouldn't understand, like, oh, well, we're here to see a mob movie or a mob TV show, but yet you're showing us these Terrence Malick useless dream sequences.
I don't talk about it a lot, especially because, like, Walking Dead is, like, essentially been dead for like a decade. But season 8. Yeah, well, season 2 was my favorite season, and it is historically the worst season of Walking Dead.
Okay.
But I love it because the entire season is on the farm. There are almost no zombies. If anything, you can tell that the zombie scenes were pasted in at the last minute to remind people it's a zombie show. But I found the conversations incredibly deep, really necessary for end of the world stuff. There was really amazing character development between specific connections of characters.
Yeah.
And then the season ended and the writers were like, oh, we're sorry we bored you. We won't do that again. And the show has just been action ever since. And I'm like, oh, cool. You guys did really amazing writing, really great character stuff.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, sorry, we didn't mean to offend our larger audience that just wants zombie kills.
Go ahead, Paul.
LCD. That's something. It's you see it in comedy. You see it in everything. It's the lowest common
denominator.
Whatever will get you the most viewers. Now, I also wanted to sort of backtrack and mention how, when it came to thumbnailing, hints or descriptions of mental conditions were to mention that a character was a villain.
Yeah, or deficient.
That was traditionally.
Yeah.
That was sort of like where a lot of the bad rap, bad press that has gone into mental health and mental health issues was maybe not perpetrated but reflected back out at society, and in doing so, that had harmed everything. So, anytime that there can be a positive representation for people who are undergoing mental health issues, that would be great. I mean,
well, there's been other shows too that have
Don't mention
really, not mentioning Monk, But I'm talking like other shows that were like blockbuster shows that got super large audiences, but that had a very, very psycho, they had very mental health driven stories. Breaking Bad, holy shit, talk about descent into madness. That was even more, I think, even more so than Sopranos, because Breaking Bad was, here's this guy,
Who was the
just
hero of
normal
Breaking
guy.
Bad?
Yeah, who was the
Yeah.
hero of Breaking Bad? Because was it Walter? No. Was it Jesse? No. Was it? You had to
It's
sort
probably
of like,
Sky, to be honest.
yeah, I know. Really, it's not. But
At best.
but it was. But
Oh, yeah.
it was how somebody who had a horrible diagnosis of cancer and a death sentence put on him, descends into madness because he is driven by wanting to leave something for his family. He has great, motivation. It's a noble cause, but holy crap, the shit he gets into, it's like, it's like the bargain with the devil, right? And there's that one too, and also
If only his country didn't have a systemic issue with healthcare.
yeah. And another one, yeah, and another one too that is really a descent into madness of people seemingly normal going absolutely crazy is Ozark.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. That's like, holy crap. Do you people not see what the fuck you're doing? Are you that inured to, like, they're so focused on, the thing they must do, because it's everything depends on that thing being done, that it's like, holy crap,
They become blindsided to
yeah,
all
you're gonna
the
kill your own brother, like, oh Jesus.
Thanks for spoilers. I don't watch season
Sorry.
2 and 3.
In all fairness, every character on the show could have a brother. So
Yes, and could have killed them
Yeah, no, I kinda-
repeatedly. Yes,
Yeah.
but oh my god, yeah, it's like,
AJ,
So,
your sound
yeah.
quality has gone down. Sorry, just
sorry. Okay.
there.
that
Okay. I have not seen the last episode yet because I'm sort of waiting on a roommate. But the second to last episode of The Expanse. Now, talking about a show that is dealing with trauma, like everybody in that show has a trauma, and some much more. Like one of the characters took a panic attack early in the season, and actually probably more than one character. But the second to last episode, I watched it
Mm-hmm.
and I was riveted. I normally when I'm watching a show, I'll pull out my phone, I'll look at my phone. I didn't do it once. And then when it was over, I realized there wasn't a single action scene in that episode.
nice.
It was all character confrontation and dialogue.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, that is intense.
And the Expanse basically is hit it out of the park, and now it's sort of done because the books have like a 30-year gap between that and the next book. So I don't know what they're going to do, but
I've heard a lot of good things about The Expanse. I just haven't checked it out yet. But that being said, my older sister has the books, so I might actually just message her and get them because I'm kind of down.
the books are everyone says the books are better, and considering how awesome this series is, that's just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, from everything I've heard, and especially because one of the most that I've heard isn't so much people being what I when I know that a person and I have the same opinion, if someone's just like, "Oh, you should see this movie. There's explosions and action, and people shoot each other, and there's a lot of fist fights," and I'm like, "All right, I bet that movie's great." But when people tell me, "Oh, The Expanse is great," they talk about mental health a lot. They have this really intense like character struggles. They have a situation that's actually really toxic and very hard to be in, and they actually have to come together or like fall. And there's an actual like flow of character to it. That's the kind of stuff that I'm more interested in. I'm much more of a character and slow story person. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll watch a bad B movie that just has dumb explosions, but if I'm going to like invest into a TV show or invest time in something, I very much enjoy a character study, a very interesting slow burn that's not afraid to make me sit and watch. I haven't watched Twin Peaks. I just haven't had like a stream service to get it. But I assume that I can sit through like David Lynch's Twin Peaks and the reboot, and like I'll probably enjoy it because from everything I've heard, it's just this like slow meditation.
Yeah, it's very it's a show that you have to watch a couple of times. Even I think you have to watch every episode a couple of times because there's so many layers to it. You can't. It's like an onion. You see the onion, but when you take the layers apart, then you see more. Every layer reveals something new, and that's Lynch's genius. Is that when you think it's something, it's not. It's something else, and you have to actually dissect it to find out what it is. He's brilliant at that. But a lot of people don't get him.
As a fan of that kind of stuff, it's actually kind of a shame that Lynch is like the biggest black hole in my media intake. Like I never got a chance to see the original Dune. I haven't seen Twin Peaks. When I lived in Vancouver with my mom, her husband, he loved Twin Peaks, so he watched the reboot as soon as it came out. So I kind of watched that over their shoulders. I purposely didn't pay a lot of attention because I didn't want to. I knew that I'd probably enjoy it, so I didn't want to get too deep into it. But some of the stuff I saw over the shoulder, there's an entire episode that is just this Lynchian like art film. Like it's 50 minutes of like just weird imagery flashing on the screen. Yeah, and I very much enjoyed that, and that was the moment that I was like, you know what, this black hole of David Lynch media is like probably not doing me any favors. Like I should probably actually check out a lot of his stuff.
Yeah,
I may be mistaken, so I'm going off memory. Jay Giles, or the lead singer of the Jay Giles band, shared a college dorm with David Lynch.
Yes,
and David Lynch
Peter
had
Wolf.
him kicked out for being too weird.
Yeah, Peter Wolf. Yeah.
Peter Wolf. Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was too weird for David Lynch.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I've seen Peter Wolf. I've seen them a couple of times, and Jay Giles, and Peter Wolf was weird, fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
There is. Ed, Peacemaker.
Oh, the John C. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
not-
Don't go do it. It's.
That's all I have to say. I can't. I mean, you know what?
I like James Gunn, and like no discredit to him whatsoever. I've been off of the DC ship for a long time, and it's not even really on purpose. I just like even people were like, "Oh, you should see Suicide Squad," and I thought to myself, "I should see Suicide Squad." I like James Gunn's work. I don't genuinely have an issue with DC movies. It's just I tapped out at one point, and since then there's been no opportunity to go see them. Like we've been in lockdown when Suicide Squad came out. I don't have HBO Max. I'm literally sitting here like I'm just missing it all, and like
Honestly, I like James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I found it was a really good, fun film, and Idris Elba did a really like my favorite character is Bloodsport in the entire film. I'm like, oh okay, and then when I heard they were making Peacemaker, I'm like, oh that's gonna be good, and then I see it, and I'm like,
James Gunn executive produced.
yeah. So he's not the driving force on the writing necessarily.
yeah.
Right.
I've seen some clips. It looks silly.
Yeah,
And they do play with the fact that he's racist.
yeah.
And I don't know if playing with that is a good thing.
No.
Yeah, that just immediately always kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. Like even if they're like, haha, we're satirizing the racists, I'm like, yeah, but racists
but
can
you're
go,
yeah. They're like, this guy gets it.
Yeah, they
Archie
connect with
Bunker
that
was a
character.
villain.
Yeah. But a lot of
right.
people looked up to him in like a fatherly way, and you're kind of just like, that's not how you're supposed to take that.
No.
Like he occasionally would do the right thing, but that was usually only when it was personal.
like his whole motto in the Suicide Squad. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
For
can't-
someone who does commentary on movies, I think it is a stark reflection that you have nothing to say about it. You're just like,
honestly, I'm embarrassed. With Peacemaker, I was embarrassed, and
Oh my
I'm
God.
embarrassed. And now what's funnier in wrestling, right? In WWE, everyone's making fun of John Cena, and then at one point, because it's supposed to be a Royal Rumble match, and then another wrestler's like, Cena, you talk big, you walk big, but there's a difference between you and I is that at least I don't wear a mask when I do all this. And the crowd was just cheering on what the other wrestler was saying, and now Cena, and now every time he's coming out, the announcer's like, "You see him in Peacemaker," and then the crowd just says boo, and I'm like, "Oh
Yeah,
God."
and wrestling's one of those interesting mediums where, like, if the crowd turns on you,
Yeah.
the whole company can turn on you. 'Cause
Right.
Yeah,
like, these people make the rules.
Yeah, exactly. But no, like if they turn on you because you followed their story, you followed their heel, and you follow like word, then yeah, it's different.
Yeah,
But
they'll twist it around. Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll do their
Yeah.
storylines. But
Yeah.
if they can't make a character stick,
no, they can't.
they'll do whatever. They don't care. They'll
I don't. I can't stand now. Like I'm like, okay, maybe it's Cena's character, but now like I can't stand him. I'm like, oh my God, why are you talking?
They're okay. I don't know how much this is like wrestling trickery or whatever, but apparently there's some kind of beef between John Cena and Batista.
No, that was a long time ago. What happened was, so with that beef was going on is because this was 2014 or 15. So it was a SummerSlam. It was before this main event, which is Royal Rumble or SummerSlam. I forgot which one there was a beef at. So Batista wasn't liking his character's portrayal in WWE, which is I think it's a total flop. But so it wasn't.
That's what
so
I heard, actually.
so Batista really didn't like where he was going with this, and Cena is like, well, again, he's like, oh, you're a big movie star. Why why are you wrestling? Just give up. So at one point, they were fighting. So then Cena took Batista's legs, tied him to the took a duct tape, tied him to the edge of the pole of the ring. Just duct taped him. And then the referee was like, you have until count of 5 to, or else you're disqualified. So Cena cheated, and then that's how Batista lost, and then that's how the beef was going. And
So I'm gonna assume that's wrestling.
That's all sort of scripted stuff. I always
that's
I
what
took
I
it
mean.
from the fact that Batista like came from a poor upbringing. John Cena
yeah,
was a silver spoon kid.
Yeah.
that too. And then also,
there's
also.
that. Now, Batista can act.
Yeah.
That's a big
Have you
thing.
seen his earlier films?
Well, I mean,
What's his earlier films?
He was in The Wrong Turn. He was in The Scorpion King 3. He was
hey man, everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
The
Riddick.
Rock was in the Scorpion
I didn't
King
even know
1.
there was a Scorpion King 3, and I consider
Oh.
myself a nerd.
There's a Scorpion
but
King 6.
there is a prequel to Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
It's about 10 minutes of film, and it's on YouTube.
Oh, the
And-
short they did with Batista.
That
Yeah.
was great. That great.
so sets up his character. Like he's in the film, like in 2049, and it makes it so much better to watch that before you go see 2049.
Yeah.
And it is so deep. I think was wasted a bit in Dune.
Mm-hmm.
He
Dune.
was. It was just him yelling and just chopping off heads. But apart
Yeah.
from that, he did a good job on that.
But that's a type of typecasting, right? Oh, he's a big
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
So, this surprised me. Because it surprised me with a lot of what was it called? Becky. Becky is it has Kevin James playing a white supremacist shot caller
Okay, yeah.
yes. I want to see that. Yeah.
who escapes
Yeah.
from prison,
Yeah.
and he it's I can't remember. He used to be a wrestler, but he's an actor. He's an Acadian who owns a farm in New Brunswick, but he's the giant. Like he's one of the the giants of wrestling. He was
This current age or back then?
well,
Probably a
no,
legend.
not so much now, but I'm talking like he was in Pacific Rim. He was in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. He's the big guy.
Oh,
that
that
threw the
guy.
hammer
Yeah,
at.
yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Like he's Canadian. He's Acadian.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
from New Brunswick,
yeah.
and he's in it.
Yeah.
And holy crap, did they pull an amazing performance from him?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, very early on. It's a little bit of spoilers. I do recommend seeing Becky. Like, first off, Kevin James as a white supremacist is almost unrecognizable.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love
they-
to see Kevin James act. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a scenery
Yeah.
chomper, but like he is so dominating to his people under him, including this giant. Like this guy early on in the film gets forced to kill 2 kids.
Ooh.
Kevin James' character. Yeah.
No, not a Kevin
No.
James character.
Oh,
Kevin
okay, the
James
rest-
The
character.
rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kevin James' character was definitely okay. It's the giant guy,
Okay.
and he wrestles with that through the rest of the film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
And considering that Becky is about, who's the guy from The Soup and Community?
Joel McHale.
Joe McHale. He plays the father, and the mother has passed, and so they're going up to their cabin with his new girlfriend and her son, and Becky is like having none of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then Becky finds something, which is what the neo-Nazis are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And they start torturing the family to try to find it, and Becky is the only one that's loose.
Oh.
It is.
Yeah.
She is a very angry young woman.
Sure.
She's like 13, 14 years old, whatever, and it's like
Well, now I'd be angry. If you were- I'd be
those
angry.
neo-Nazis
too in
don't
person.
stand a chance.
I
all
have
right.
this weird thing where I really enjoy media where Nazis get like completely stomped out. It's weird.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I
think
know.
it's
Downfall.
Yes.
For me, Downfall is my favorite film
Yeah.
because
There is a scene with Kevin James' eye that I can't describe.
I'm gonna check it out then.
Does he talk about his usual phone? He goes, "What are you doing? I told you. You know, when you have to do a phone call, the numbers have a rhythm. If there's no rhythm, it's not a phone call." I hope he does that.
I was gonna say you describing it. It kind of reminds me of like. Do you guys remember Green Room? And Patrick Stewart was like the head of a Nazi camp, and people were just like,
Yeah.
"What? Patrick Stewart is playing this character?" It was brilliant. It was like very small
Yeah,
role, but like in that little role, it was like, "Oh, Patrick Stewart's like he's out here doing it."
Yeah,
Nazi
he was.
role.
Yeah, such an underrated film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. We've been here for over an hour.
Yes, we have.
We have. AJ, I definitely want to thank you for coming
Yes.
by.
Yeah, it was
If
fun.
anyone wants to know more about AJ, his Instagram is AJ Young Comic. That's on Instagram. Claudio, of course, is a Claudio Capri Comedy on Instagram. Mike is old. So, he just has,
Well, when you put it that way, Paul,
Mike, I believe in
that
you.
sounds almost offensive.
I believe in you, Mike. Figure out Discord and join our movie watch.
Yes.
Same with you, Claudio. And
Yeah.
I have Dirty Four has a Discord, but like we joined, but
then there's Linktree is pretty much a link to all of my stuff, and if anyone ever wants to support the channel, I'd greatly appreciate it, especially in this time with less work. It's linktr.ee/Paul Ash. The first thing says buy a drink, but you can also check out the other shows, such as my good friend the Love Doctor or Battlecom that AJ has mentioned earlier.
definitely, Battlecom's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Next
one is January 31st.
I just want to say that like not taking over what Dirty Four is doing. You guys like have your own movie show. I'm learning to edit, so I'm basically like hosting a Discord server where like we're just gonna watch bad B movies on Tubi. I'm gonna edit like our commentary on top of it, make an hour and a half movie into like a 15 to 20 minute like
nice
YouTube clip.
Mystery Science Theater type.
Kind of, except for I found Mystery Science Theater, like there's no conversation. They just make jokes and move on, and I prefer I prefer reactions. I'm big on energy. So I want people to like come in the voice chat, I'll record it, and then I'll personally edit together like the movie with some of the best clips and some of the good jokes we made, and make content out of it. And if people just want to show up and they don't want to be made content out of, I'll do that too. I really don't care. It's just a place for comedians to like socialize, watch movies, maybe have content made out of them. Who cares? And that being said, I believe in the sharing value. So if I ever make a dime, anybody whose voice is on that YouTube channel is getting a share of it, because I don't believe in hoarding wealth.
Yay.
You're good. You're good stuff. You're good. You're a good guy.
Yeah. You're a good man, Adrian. You're a good man.
Appreciate it, guys.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you all. And everybody, thank you for tuning in.